Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are sharing with you 8 things first-time Amtrak riders get wrong.
We fell for a lot of these too when we first started riding Amtrak. They're pretty common things that people do get wrong. So the first one, jumping right in, is that thinking the train will be on time.
Yes, unfortunately, this is probably the biggest thing is you've scheduled a couple of trains and they're back to back. You have no time in between or little time in between, and the fact of the matter is that the trains are going to be late. You will be shocked if your train is on time. It's just a common thing with Amtrak, and it's just something that you have to plan for.
It is. They're going to be 2 hours late, 4 hours late, 8, 12 hours late. It could be any of those. You don't know how late it's going to be, but it is likely going to be late. So we've seen people take Amtrak trains to a cruise ship, and they have missed their cruise because the train was 12 hours late. We have seen them miss flights. We personally did this and missed a rental car because our train was supposed to get in at 4 o'clock. Rental car office closed at 6. Couldn't get a car, so we had to take an Uber out to the O'Hare Airport rental car lot and pick up our car there, which we were able to switch the reservation. But it causes all kinds of problems if you book things too closely to your arrival, because the train is just definitely going to be late most of the time.
Yeah, so always give yourself an extra buffer at the end or in between trains if you're riding back-to-back trains.
Next one is checking bags on the wrong trains. And I don't mean the wrong route, that like checking a different train than you're on, but checking it. Certain trains you do want to check bags and certain trains you don't. So on a Superliner train, which is the double-decker trains that go to the West Coast from Chicago, you don't really want to check a bag because there's plenty of space. There's luggage racks on the train. You can put that on there. When you arrive, you just get your bag and you're out the door. But on the Viewliner trains on the East Coast, you do want to check your bag because there isn't going to be enough room for it on the train.
Yeah, and you want to have as little issues as possible when you arrive, and we did this a long time ago when we were first riding. We checked our bags on a Superliner, and it took forever to get our bags back. When we got there, we could have just had them with us, and we saw people just walking right out with their bags. They got them off the luggage rack, and they were ready to go while we were all just sitting around. Everybody who checked their bags was sitting around waiting for their bags for a long time. So definitely keep that in mind when you are checking your bags. Know which type of train you're on, Superliner or Viewliner, and then that way you'll know if you're going to check it or not.
All right, the next one that people get wrong is sitting on the lower level. It can sound good, but for the most part, it is better to sit on the upper level. You're going to have better views the entire ride. If you're on the lower level, for the most part, you'll be looking right at trees.
Yeah, you're just going to have a not as good of a view or perspective level because you are so close to the ground. On those Superliner trains, you got those 2 decks. You're going to be, if you're in the upstairs and it's not a problem for you to get up there, from upstairs, you are going to have gorgeous views. You'll be over most of the trees, and you'll just have a much better perspective from up there. The other key thing is that down below, it's a little bit rockier, and you can feel the movement a lot more down below, so it's definitely better to be up top.
Next one would be not bringing food with you on the train, because a lot of people don't know you can bring food. So if you're in coach, even if you're in a sleeper car, you can bring food with you. Now you can't cook on the train. We have seen people try to do that. You can't do that. You can bring we usually get a Subway sandwich from the train station, bring that with us, have it later on in the evening. We get something we can eat at lunch, something we can save for dinner, and it works out really well.
Yeah, this actually happened to us on our very first ride on Amtrak. We did not have food with us. We just planned on buying food on the train, except that the minute we got on the train and it took off, they said, oh, by the way, you can't buy anything for the snack car from the cafe snack car because our machines aren't working and we can't accept cash. And we were like, oh, you're joking. So just kind of keep that in mind. The other thing is when you do bring your own food, you can bring a little cooler with you. That is not a problem. But just note that they're not going to be able to warm things up for you because of health codes. So bring something, like Rob said, we usually get a sandwich because it's something that doesn't need to be warmed to be eaten. So something easy like that.
All right, a lot of routes have observation cars. They're beautiful cars, big glass dome windows on both sides of the train. You can see out. And some people think that they are only for people in the sleeper cars, but in reality, everyone on the train is allowed to go to the observation car. So a mistake people make is if you're in coach, they just stay in coach the whole time. You're allowed to get up and move around the train. You can't go to the sleeper cars, but the observation car is going to be before you get to the sleeper cars. So get up, move around, go see the dining car, observation car, and enjoy the ride walking around on the train also.
Yeah, and on the observation car, there's a few things to note. Is the cafe snack car is usually there on the lower level. And then what I like about it is not just the seats facing out towards the windows, but I do love that they have the tables as well. And you can sit there and either like work on your computer, or you can just sit there and enjoy the views or eat your meal, whatever you want to do. You don't have to, if you're in coach, you don't have to sit at your seat and eat your food. You can go in the observation car, if there is one on your train, and enjoy your meal there.
So a lot of people show up for the train way too early. So this is not an airport situation. There is no big, long security line to get through. In fact, there isn't anything like that you have to go through at all. You just show up, and when they're ready to board, you'll already have your ticket on your train. If you need to check bags, you can take a few minutes and drop your bags off. But if you're on a superliner, you're keeping your bags with you, you just show up when they call for boarding. You just walk on, and they don't do that, very early. You're not going to be getting on the train any more than a half hour if it's, if you're the very first stop. If you're on an intermediate stop, you're not going to get on until it gets there. So it's not going to be, you're not getting on the train an hour early. You're not going to have to get there 2 hours early like you would for an airport.
Yeah, and always keep track of, especially if you're on one of those intermediate stops, make sure that you're checking in the app the status of the train, because as we mentioned earlier, the trains are likely going to be late. And if your train is coming at 11 p.m. or supposed to be there at 11 p.m., it may be 1 o'clock in the morning before they get there. So make sure you're keeping track of that in the app as well. You can search by train and see where the train is going to be, and it will kind of give you an update as it goes along of when the train is going to be there. You can also sign up for notifications, but I wouldn't just rely on that. I would definitely, hand check it in the app.
All right, you got to have power on the train. You're going to be on this train for a long time. You got phones to charge. But these train cars are fairly old, and they just weren't built with today's needs for power, and so there just aren't enough charge outlets on the train. So we always bring a portable charger with us when we ride the train.
Yeah, if you're in the sleeper cars, there's generally only one electrical outlet available, which there's usually going to be two of you, or a lot of times there's two of you in those rooms, and you're not going to both be able to, charge your things. So we always have our portable charger with us, and our portable adapter with us, and we can charge multiple things on it at once. The other thing is, if you're in coach, the electrical outlets are both by the window seat. So if you're traveling on your own and you don't know the person in the aisle, it's going to be a really awkward situation if the person in the aisle wants to charge, if you're the person in the aisle and you want to charge your phone the entire ride, your charger cable is going to be strewn about with the person next to you. So keep that in mind. The portable charger is really nice because you can just keep it with you. You can keep charging your phone if you go sit in the observation car or go have a snack or go to the bathroom or whatever. Definitely bring a portable charger. It will be your best friend.
Next one is the Wi-Fi. So the Amtrak trains, some of them do have Wi-Fi, But a lot of people make the mistake of thinking the Wi-Fi is going to last the entire trip. It's generally not. If you're going to the West Coast, the Wi-Fi will go out at the same points that your phone service goes out. So Wi-Fi is really no better than your phone service. It's really only intended for if you have a computer that doesn't have cell service. But as far as your phone goes, you're not going to get much of an advantage at all with the Amtrak Wi-Fi. So do not think that you're going to be able to just, be on a conference call or a meeting in the middle of the desert. It's just not going to work.
Right, because the Wi-Fi is still dependent on the cell towers. So, like you said, you're doing those trips across the country, they're going to go out at the same time. And honestly, we have found that using the hotspot with our cell phones works a lot better for things like using the computer or downloading something on the iPad or anything like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. You won't always have connectivity when you're on the trains, even cell service. So not just the Wi-Fi, but cell service will also go out at certain points.
All right, these are the things that we got wrong first. Hopefully saves you a little bit of trouble. Maybe you won't get these wrong in your first Amtrak ride.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, leave those for us below in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a like, and we'll see you guys next time.